Good evening, wherever you are watching us from across East Africa. This is KTN Weekend Prime, the point of news. My name is Yvonne Okwara Matole.
My name is John Allen Namu. One day after we commemorated 17 years since the August 7, 1998 bomb blast, we continue with our news agenda tonight with stories from across the country and indeed from across the region.
That's right, and our discussion tonight. Now that John Allen Namu is back, he will be hosting that. It does sometimes feel like it's the other Kenya when you're on social media. Now, there's audio that has been doing the rounds on social media, on WhatsApp, and it has been trending for the last couple of days. Today we're going to discuss that. Not the audio itself, but the reaction and discussion in the wake of that audio being released on social media, and what that says about our culture, what it says about our rape culture. When does no mean no? Can it be yes and then no? If I join KTN and then decide 2, 3, 4, 10 years in, it's not working for me, am I allowed to leave? Those are just some of the comparisons we'll be making. If you go into the cinema to watch a film and halfway through you think, nah, it's not worth my time,
will the doorman stop
you and say, no, 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 you know, you paid for the ticket? Well, those are some of the discussions you will be having. Oh yeah, most definitely. We've got two panelists tonight discussing that issue. The comparisons we make might perhaps seem flippant to you, but the issue is a rather serious one, and the hashtag tonight is rape culture. Get your thoughts in. We gave you an email address to send your thoughts via video if you want to contribute. That email is still open. It's ktnreporter@gmail. So send them in quickly and we'll try and sample them at the end of that discussion. But for now, let's take a look at the highlights on KTN Weekend Prime.
Nilijaribu kuongea naye, nilifikiria amekunywa pombe zile nini, lakini alitaja jina kijana mmoja alitoa hiyo vitu kwa shule.
One student dead, 3 in hospital after consuming deadly chemical from a laboratory.
Ikiwa nilikuwa mfanyikazi kwa bwanangu, anilive miaka hiyo yote.
If you want to leave me, pay me for 60 years of marriage, Kitui granny tells hubby.
What I have seen our parliament, even government, does usually is to create a crisis of necessity.
Why MPs have no option but to extend deadline for crucial laws.
Stripping a pupil, a student, be it in high school, be it in primary school, is not a good thing.
And police officers who stripped schoolgirl to face disciplinary action. William Silla is our sign language interpreter tonight. We start off on a rather tragic note. A family in Western Gishu County still in shock after the death of their 16-year-old son, who was a student at Seyot Secondary School.
A student died after consuming a laboratory reagent taken from the school lab at a practical session. According to his father, the student was forced by school friends to drink the chemical. Michelle Ngele now reports.
The Form 4 student, identified as Oliver Kipkirui, is alleged to have consumed a non-chemical on Wednesday along with 5 other students before the institution closed for August holidays. According to the deceased's father, his son came home and started complaining about stomach pains on Thursday.
Nikapigwa report, nikikuwa kazini nimeshuka kwa matatu. Kijana wangu ni mgonjwa nyumbani. Sasa nikachukua pikipiki mpaka nyumbani, nikapata yeye kweli alikuwa serious. Nilijaribu kuongea naye, nilifikiria amekunywa pombe zile nini, lakini alitaja jina kijana mmoja alitoa hiyo vitu kwa shule. Aitwa Tormoy. Lakini hatukujua, nilikuwa nafikiri ni pombe tu kawaida. Nikafanyia first aid nyumbani on Wednesday. Thursday jana akakuwa serious, nikapeleka town referral hospital.
The student died on Friday morning while being attended to at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital. Joshua Busiene, an education official from Western Gishu County, said it is uncertain to understand whether the boys consumed the chemical at school or outside the institution.
The school closed on Wednesday, and whatever happened outside the school because the school had already closed. It's only that it was an incident that involved the students to this school. And that is why the ministry is drawn here together with other stakeholders, because this one is going to affect everybody.
3 other students are currently undergoing treatment, while the whereabouts of one of the students is still unknown. Michelle Ngele, KTN News.
Kenya will soon be marking the 5th anniversary since the adoption of the new constitution. But the anniversary comes with a looming possibility of dissolution of parliament should any person move to court to sue parliament for failing to pass key laws. An advocate now says that the High Court may soon get the opportunity to restrict the tendency by politicians of circumventing otherwise binding legal provisions.
On Thursday, the National Assembly took a one-week break to allow members attend the African Region Conference on the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The House will be reconvening on August 18th. MPs will only have 10 sittings, including August 27th, to enact 14 key legislations whose 5-year constitutional deadline falls on that date. Some of the pending bills include the 2/3 gender rule, the maximum and minimum acreage bill, community land bill, historical land injustices bill, access to justice bill, the bill to promote representation of marginalized and ethnic minorities in Parliament, and the restructuring of the provincial administration bill.
Why do you think Parliament delayed enacting these laws, yet it had 5 good years to ensure that these laws were in place?
What I have seen our Parliament, even government, does usually is to create a crisis of necessity so that people are compelled to accept even a mediocre bill because we must beat the deadline.
Since the adoption of the new constitution, Parliament has often extended deadlines or rushed bills in the House by reducing days set aside to debate bills through the guillotine process. Some of the bills awaiting enactment are controversial. Because of converging common interests and driven by fear of dissolution of Parliament, lawmakers could invoke Article 261 of the Constitution, gang up and muster the 2/3 of members to extend the deadline.
If we extend those timelines for a year, it is going to get into 2016 at the time the campaigns for the next election will already be heated, and that will muddy the waters and cloud the place so that even these laws may not be passed in the content of the laws will most drastically change because of the political interests related to the next election of 2017.
The Magistrates Court Bill is another critical legislation with the August timeline yet to be enacted. The bill seeks to give original jurisdiction to subordinate courts to hear and determine applications for redress of a denial, violation or infringement of and/or threat to a right of fundamental freedom in the Bill of Rights.
When I look at the number of people who are arraigned before courts with even unconstitutional charges or fatally illegal charges, which even the magistrates can see that there is an important constitutional question, but they have no authority to determine it, then it has got to go to the High Court and bog down the High Court and create what we call backlog of cases. Parliament needs to also urgently, in my view, enact that law provided for under Article 23 to give subordinate courts authority or jurisdiction to determine constitutional questions when they are posed before them.
The subject of the gender rule has been so emotive, with the women holding high expectations that the laws should be in place by August 27th. Do you see a possibility of someone rushing to court should Parliament fail to enact this rule by August 27th?
It is possible that that judgment of Mumbi Ngugi can be used to now petition the Chief Justice to direct the President to dissolve Parliament. It may sound extreme, and if it sounds extreme, Kenyans must learn that it is not right to do what is convenient at all times. Convenience must not be the principal the guiding principle in the development of public policy or law or management of public affairs.
Last week, while tabling the 2/3 Gender Rule Laws Amendment Bill 2015 in the National Assembly, Leader of Majority Aden Duale said he would seek extension of the August 27 deadline to implement the rule. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
Inspector General of Police Joseph Boynet says the police officer who allegedly took nude photos of a schoolgirl during a search and later circulated them on social media is already facing disciplinary action. This comes after the photos triggered public fury and criticism over the treatment of the schoolgirl.
The incident where about 41 secondary school students were arrested by police officers in Kirinyaga County after being engaged in a drugs and sex party in a bus now has a new twist. Police officers who stripped and photographed a schoolgirl during the search for drugs will now face disciplinary action. This is because it is believed the police officers are the ones who shared the photos of the minor on social media. Drawing from that debate about the nude photos of the schoolgirl, a group of about 100 youth took to the streets in Nairobi as part of a campaign to restore the dignity, confidence and self-esteem of students across the country.
I want to challenge young people that there are roles that we can play, and we've started. So we need so many other young people to take positive roles in shaping our society. And that is now stepping forward and making sure everything is right. There are wrongs that have been there for a long time, and if we assume them, they'll be there for a long time.
We don't say that it's good to abuse drugs and getting involved in deviant behavior, but we're saying that stripping a pupil, a student, be it in high school, be it in primary school, is not a good thing, and that is our campaign, and we are going to stand with it until the end.
When you restore a dignity of a child, you not only invest in our dignity, but you also invest in our own future.
The campaign, dubbed Feature Uchi, which roughly translates to hide your nakedness, targets to buy school uniforms for at least 100 students in each school in the country. They say though it is important to instill good morals and values to our children, we also need to protect their rights in the process. Fatma Pole, KTN News.
In other news, 15 people have been arrested for allegedly defrauding over 1,000 youth from various counties in the North Rift with a promise of offering them jobs in Nairobi. The suspects were nabbed after some officials from Uasin Gishu County suspected foul play in a deal. KTN's Timothy Otieno reports.
This group of young men and women from Baringo, Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties are here for the final day of orientation ahead of a new job. What they are about to find out is that they have all been duped. And the bearer of bad news is none other than the Uasin Gishu Deputy Governor Daniel Kiprotich.
Kuna matapeli wengi sana ambao wako wakitumia shida ambayo vijana ama watu wa Kenya wako naye, kwa maana wanataka nafasi za kazi, kwa hivyo wanachukua hiyo nafasi kudanganya.
They have been camping at this center for the better part of the day, hoping to travel to Nairobi Sunday to commence their new duties. But it's a fake recruitment exercise that has taken the better part of 2 months, and in its wake, 1,000 youth and women devastated by news that their hopes of finding a job remain just that.
Kuna jobs, inaitwa, hii organization inaitwa East Africa Sub-Sahara Safe Promotion Foundation, and it's an international company, ama limited. Tulikuwa tumeambiwa it's dealing with poverty eradication, youth funds na widows.
This is a scam. Hakuna ukweli. Na hata hiyo kitu naita Sub-Saharan Africa na nini, those are only long names that are concocted to create a lie.
A few may be smiling, but it's no laughing matter. The 15 individuals are believed to have sent the group text messages requesting for a payment of 500 shillings each before the launch of the NGO on Sunday.
Appointment letters tutapewa baadaye, and then before that tunaambiwa tena it has been postponed. So tumekuwa in darkness for a long time, hatujai jua what is going on.
Fortunately, unfortunately, the situation has just been handed over to the necessary bodies to work out on the further investigation based on it.
The suspected fraudsters have since been detained pending further investigations, but what may no doubt remain elusive to investigators here is how 15 individuals could manage to deceive 1,000 people that they would get employment miles away from their homes. Timothy Otieno, KTN News.
Imagine this, you have been living together as a couple for 60 years, only for your spouse to suddenly call it quits. Well, an 80-year-old granny from Kitui is extremely angry after her husband dumped her for a second wife after 60 years of marriage. But she's ready to accept and move on, only if the husband can pay her for each of the 60 years of living with him.
It is a marriage that has hit the rocks at the least expected time. They have been through thick and thin together for 60 years as husband and wife. But now, at a time when many would be looking at them with envy for such a long marriage, this 8-year-old granny is very angry with her now estranged sweetheart, who's gone for a second wife.
Nimeolewa mwaka wa 15/6 mwezi wa 8. Na tangu niolewe, sisi hatukuwa na kichaka. Tulikuwa tukilala kwa mti. Tunangojea mtu anapika, tunaingia kwa jiko na bwanangu tunalala. Tunaingiza nyasi tukalala. Mpaka nikazaa watoto 6.
They say marriage is a journey, one that at times gets rocky, and Joyce Mutethia Kimanzi, in her 60 years of wedlock, has seen it all. So disappointed is she that she has a list of demands before she lets her man Timothy Kiva off the hook or even allows another woman to warm his bed.
Naamua nilutishwe kichaka changu, ikiwa sikulutishwe kichaka changu, ikiwa nilikuwa mfanyikazi kwa bwanangu, anilive miaka hiyo yote, nende nikanunue mahali pengine.
A demand which is wholly supported by her children, who like their mother are angry that their dad would dump her after the ups and downs of 60 years of wedlock. They're now complaining that the man demolished this kiosk which they had put up for her.
With my mother being compensated, because right now she is old, she cannot go back to her family, she's already old. So there is nothing like a compensation. What we want is our demolished shop to be compensated.
And although the woman claims to have bought the property jointly with her now estranged husband, the man says the granny does not even own an inch of the land she wants him to share with her. The woman is disturbing me because of our daughter, but she does not own any land here. Even all those bank accounts are mine. I can't remember the year I purchased this land, but all these matters are currently before court and I don't want to add any more.
Sasa, miaka hiyo yote nimekaa mpaka wa leo nikaseeka. Nataka ikiwa sina kichaka kwa mzee wangu, nataka serikali nitafutie kichaka cha wazee wale ambao hawaoni. Maana nimesumbuka, nikisikia hii imeuzwa, nikikimbia huko ingine imeuzwa.
Well, as they say, love is sweet, but it can get sour, very sour. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News, Nairobi.
76.
Now on the slopes of Mount Elgon, in Elgon and Chemoge, is a place where children and families face a reality of special needs, from mentally handicapped children to autism, Down syndrome, ADHD and cerebral palsy. Many of these children go to school without what most may take for granted, and in the pockets of the difficult terrain, 6 out of 10 live below the poverty line. There's only one special school in the region at Kopsiro, but here there are teachers determined to give them an education. KTN's Dorcas Wangira observed children with special needs at special units in Chemses and Chemusus primary schools and brings you this report.
The southeastern slopes of Mount Elgon mask a common struggle, but behind the mountain are untold stories of children born different, children born special. To some, they're labeled cast and left hidden. Many of their parents, most single matriarchs, know they don't just need new names, but people to help and understand their story. The gates of St. Susan Chemses Primary School in Chemoge, Mount Elgon are always open. Up until January this year, there were no special needs teachers here. The headmaster, Philip Barikacho, registered a special unit with a regular classroom.
Madams in charge of this, they went in the rural looking for those children, brought them here, and teachers were very happy to receive this kind of children in the school, and even other children, the normal ones.
In the same class, there is a continuum of age and handicap. A 5-year-old Victor Ndiwa has spina bifida and a loose bladder, 2 3-year-old sisters with paraplegia and weak motor functions. There is a 12-year-old with hyperactivity, a 19-year-old with ADD, 4 17-year-olds with low vision, mental handicap, hearing and speech impairment, 2 late teens with multiple challenges of epilepsy and physical handicap. 20-year-old Sheila Boyo is mentally handicapped and has hearing impairment. The special unit class at Chemses Primary School has 19 children. Well, the beauty of this place is that they're siblings who learn together. That way they are more comfortable, and they learn both in English and their mother tongue, Sabaot. We have Collins and Carlos. Chamune? Chamage. And we have 3 brothers. There's Korir, we have Leonard, and Elia. Elia, Ichame Asumen? Ichame Asumen? Well, and we have sisters. There's Michelle and Tabitha. Tabitha has motor problems and she cannot walk. This abacus is one that she loves to learn mathematics. Tabitha, nisaidie kwa sababu hapa. Moja, pamoja. Moja. Moja. Mbili. Tatu. Good girl.
We have a child like Elia Rotich, who used to be so withdrawn. He was very antisocial, but for now he's friendly. The parents, to some extent, they are supportive, but their support is a bit minimal.
There are 3 teachers here. It's not just the lack of classes, specialized learning material and infrastructure that's the challenge. They have to improvise material and add value to the curriculum with skills such as goat keeping and beekeeping. Integrated education with regular children is encouraged to build social skills.
The ministry also are fighting that challenge of having a school fairly equipped. Actually, that grouping them together is not right. But there's one thing that we are having as a ministry. Is it better for a child to be at home or the child to be in school and they are crowded? So to me, them being in school, we have solved up one problem of access.
Ideally, and according to the District Education Office, children with special needs require a 1:5 teacher-student ratio. Cerebral palsy demands a 1:1 ratio. But staffing versus enrollment when it comes to special needs is a nationwide problem, not just in Mount Elgon. The situation is dire, with only 67 public primary schools and 14 private schools, 114 ECDs including feeders. There are only 18 special units in primary schools and only 1 special school for the mentally handicapped in Kaptora. Capitation given by the ministry is 1,300 shillings plus an extra 3,000. At Chemisus Primary School at Elgon, a class for the special unit happens under this tree, a slender trunk with branches that don't travel far. The unit was registered in 2014. Sharply juxtaposed with the classes besides it, it pales. But for the 17 children in this class, it is everything. 12-year-old Joshua Koske is mentally handicapped, but he is a master of the abacus. You can't tell that Joel is 15 because he is stunted in growth, the youngest 5, the eldest 16. There is visual impairment, mental handicap, and intelligence handicap, which means that it takes twice as much effort for them to learn and understand. This school was dealt a great blow when their teacher Celestine Mungao died in a tragic accident. The District Education Office sent Esther Muchomo here, not just to help the children cope, but teach them. They need a feeding program, furniture, a practical and vocational curriculum as opposed to a rote learning one, and facilities such as toilets. And those locked up and in home-based learning need someone to reach out to them.
They are stigmatized. Some of them, when you go there, when they look at you, they just cry and they don't wish you to leave them. There is hope. There is hope if we can get well-wishers who can at least provide us with the materials, at least we get a boarding school here, then these children will lead a normal life just like the other children.
The parents, after getting that we went to them for these children, they left their responsibility fully to the schools. And I feel that we are still sensitizing them to get to know that the children are just like any other child. Upon the Minister of Health to come up and get us assisted, and also the Minister of Education, because up to now the Minister of Education has a very short hand on special needs education.
Our biggest hope for the SNE children is for us as Mount Elgon also to develop a secondary school. because children with special needs learn better in a familiar environment.
There are no private children, there are no public children. We are told that for as long as this mountain surrounds this place, all the children need to have equal right and equal access to education and opportunity. Dorcas Wangera, KTN News, Mount Elgon, Bungoma.
Now, the World Breastfeeding Week came to an end with nutritionists and health professionals appealing to institutions to provide space and time for lactating mothers to breastfeed. But this also came against the backdrop of mothers finding the modern-day lifestyle too limiting for breastfeeding.
These are expectant and lactating mothers from pastoralist communities in Isiolo, receiving lessons on proper breastfeeding and its benefits. As the World Breastfeeding Week came to an end, the Tupendane Community Health Center brought mothers together. The topic, the importance of breastfeeding their young for 6 months.
Breastfeeding is a very important health survival intervention, which, if it is done correctly, can save the lives of many children in Isiolo. As such, as a county, we take the World Breastfeeding Week celebrations very seriously.
Breastfeeding is not just to feed, but is helping the improvement of the society whole. And then it's very important to involve even Isiolo County. We have already celebrated with 160 women in Kinna Health Center 2 days ago. We have done health talk focused on breastfeeding and exclusively breastfeeding up to 6 months of the baby, and invitation and sensitization about the mother to have access to the public health facilities.
Dr. Kiluva reveals that Isiolo County was ranked the 5th worst county in terms of child mortality rates, with 700 child deaths for every 100,000 live births.
Breastfeeding is very, very important for the health of the child. You know, it has been shown to prevent diarrhea because, as you know, God created the milk safe. It prevents upper respiratory tract infections. And these are benefits because if your child is not going to be suffering from this kind of infections, then as a parent you're also happy because you spend less time going to the hospital.
Speaking at Kericho at a similar ceremony, University Don Professor Miriam Were underscored the need to breastfeed for 6 months before introducing solid foods.
I was particularly happy for the demonstration of what husbands can do, what fathers need to do to help breastfeeding.
The speaker said in order for this to be achieved, there is need for organizations to provide private rooms for lactating mothers to express and refrigerate breast milk for their young.
Many places of work have not organized where the mother should express the milk. So that is why sometimes the mother goes to the toilet to express the milk, but the toilet is not a clean place, so it's not a good thing. Then secondly, after you have expressed the milk, you need to have a fridge, a refrigerator, to keep the milk.
During the World Breastfeeding Week, countries focus on the messages and challenges of exclusive breastfeeding in a world where working women have little time to spend with their infants. Trix Ingado, KTN News.
President Uhuru Kenyatta arrived in Uganda for a 3-day state visit. The president was accompanied by First Lady Margaret Kenyatta and is expected to address the Ugandan Parliament on Monday. During the visit, President Kenyatta and his Ugandan counterpart Yoweri Museveni will also hold bilateral talks on trade and regional integration. The two leaders are also expected to discuss the latest developments in South Sudan and review the situation in Burundi, where President Museveni acted as mediator on behalf of the East African community. President Kenyatta will also meet the Ugandan business community and the Kenyan diaspora. He arrived in Uganda to a ceremonial guard of honor and a 21-gun salute as he began the 3-day state visit.
Former Britain and Finland champion Tapio Lakanen bagged his third win of the season as the 7th leg of the Kenya National KCB Rally wrapped up in Machakos. Carl Flash Tundo finished second in Machakos, while Baldev Chaga came in third, just 9 seconds slower than Tundo. The Kenya National Rally Championships heads to Nakuru next month.
Former British and Finnish rally champion Tapio Lakanen continued with his dethroning of Kenyan drivers, leading from start to the end to bag his third win of the 2015 Kenya National Rally Championships. Navigated by Percy Torma in a Subaru Impreza GVB 13, Lakanen engaged top speed to leave the Kenyan drivers chasing after him, especially on the smooth and flat sections around Machakos, Konza and Kapiti Plains. His win came despite a 20-minute break to have his gearbox changed. Machakos' win became Tapio's second consecutive win after emerging top in Eldoret. Kenyan drivers were left to battle for the lesser positions, with Carl Flash Tundo settling for second on the first outing with his Mitsubishi Evolution 10. Chaga, who had veered off the road, was forced to settle for third, just 9 seconds behind Tundo. Despite coming in fourth, just Richathe remains top of the National Rally standings with 2 legs to go. Ian Duncan, who was well on course for podium finish, had punches dip him to 7th overall, while the tough conditions saw Rajbil Rai and 2-time Uganda champion Jas Mangat join a list of other drivers who crashed out of the rally. Fans on the other side were treated to an adrenaline-packed afternoon at the Machakos People's Park stage. The next round of the National Rally heads to Nakuru next month. Lynn Washira, KTN.
Defending National 7 Series champions KCB, Christie 7's champions Kenya Harlequins, Top Fry Nakuru, Impala, Strathmore Leos, Nondis and Mwamba all qualified for the main cup quarters as the second leg of the National Series, the Dala 7s, got underway at the Kisumu Polytechnic. Elsewhere, the Nairobi Football Champions Tournament resumed at the Nairobi Technical Institute. This and more in our sports roundup.
After a successful completion of the first leg of the National 7 circuit last weekend, rugby action headed to Kisumu City for the Dala 7s at the Kisumu Polytechnic. There were no major upsets recorded as the usual suspects easily made it through to the main cup quarters. Defending National 7 Series champions KCB, Christie 7's champions Kenya Harlequins, Top Fry Nakuru, Impala, Strathmore Leos, Nondis and Mwamba will battle it out in the main cup quarters Sunday morning. In some selected results, Strathmore Leos hammered Mwamba 43-0, while Kenya Harlequins recorded a high score of 53-0 against Sharks. The tournament continues tomorrow.
We have a total of 32 teams. That is Division 1, we have 12 teams, and Division 2 we have... Division 1 we have 16 teams, and Division 2 we have 16 teams.
Elsewhere, the Nairobi Champions Cup entered the round of the last of 32 teams with a total of 8 matches going down at the Nairobi Technical Institute grounds Saturday. High-scoring Gashia Silver Bullets advanced to the next round in a 5-goal thriller that saw them take advantage of the muddy pitch to reduce Korogosho Youth to a mere spectator. Bullets had beaten their neighbors Gashia Friends 5-0. Jeremiah Kialo had put the Slum Boys ahead in the 17th minute with a neat cross that went straight into the net to give them a 1-0 halftime lead. Goals from Noah Masiko, Fred Waweru and a brace from Elisha Waweru sealed the victory for the Bullets as Korogosho chased the ball unsuccessfully. In another encounter, Dandora Youth advanced to the last 16, beating Kaka Kuona 1-0, while Dandora Ohangla faced a suspension after they assaulted second referee in the abandoned match that saw them get edged out by the Dream Team 2-1. Meanwhile, the 36th edition of the Kenya Communication Sports Organization Games kicked off Saturday in Machakos Kenyatta Stadium. In the opening match, Kenya Ferry Services beat Kenya Ports Authority 2-1. Kenya Ports Authority took the lead on the 40th minute. However, a 50th minute and 80th minute goal handed Kenya Ferry Services the win. Lynn Washira, KTN.
All right, so before we carry on, George Nandwa has apologized, said, you know, he didn't understand the effect that would have, and so your apologies accepted. Thank you. I don't know that he's taken it down yet, which is now what the next
take
step.
it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that now completes the apology. But let's get into your feedback now. Veronica says, rape culture, KTN, you have stooped too low. This is not a discussion worth having on KTN.
Interesting point of view, considering how serious rape is of a crime, but that's just us.
Okay.
Perhaps we didn't read the law very well when it came to rape. Anyway, Ndenya says it's not about the authenticity of the clip, the Morris clip, but the applause it generated and the validation of rape culture. And that's an interesting point, because whether or not the clip was authentic, the applause was, the memes were, the commentary was, and therefore they must have been commenting about something that they thought, or something that was invoked in them by that clip, whether authentic or not. And perhaps that is what we need to be addressing ourselves to. It's something that's more deep-rooted than trying to be very arithmetic about this is authentic and therefore we should discuss it in this way.
The gist of the discussion was the reaction in the aftermath of that clip. Njoki Ngumi says, so many of us with vernacular accents, surely accented audio from sex is not a big deal, and yet
interesting.
In the blank there.
Let me see if I can get one more. Tribe Kenyan says that was a very necessary discussion. It should continue online. #rape culture. Thank you very much for that.
All right.
Yeah.
Here's another one. At Sunday_Miss, you say rape is already bigger than we think. It's everywhere around us. The Morris audio was not funny.
Anthony Minotti says, come on, this is not only a man's issue, but about the society morality, which is going down the drain.
All right. At Terrell Seeds, you say, rape culture doesn't exist in the African woman. She always says no when she actually means yes.
Another one from Ndenya, if you want to know about the intelligence of a person, look at what they laugh at. The audio was not funny.
All right, I think we'll leave it at that tonight. Thank you so much for your views on this discussion, and I think it's one that definitely should continue. And we should continue to question ourselves about that. So if I'm taking the bulletin too personally, it's because you violate a young woman's, you know, and like I think what Mark Igo said is forever.
Yeah.
This image will be there for her children, for her employer, for her future husband.
The internet never forgets. And on a thing as absolute as a crime as rape, sometimes we need, this is just me saying this, but we need a little more unanimity in discussing what rape is, what the culture around rape is, so that when we get into these discussions, we have a very clear interpretation of whether or not the Morris clip represented rape culture or not, and we can speak to it from that point of view, rather than trying to be pedantic and look at things like authenticity of the clip itself.
Absolutely.
That's just my opinion, me offering it on national television, big no-no, but yes, this is the kind of discussion that it is.
Here's another opinion. When you receive something that's offensive, don't share it. Don't send it. I've seen people on Facebook saying, if you want the Morris audio, please, you know, this is, or if, you know, this young girl who's violated, and you continue to send it, that makes you no different from the person that perpetuated that crime in the first place. It makes you an accomplice. So at least particularly on that one of the picture of the underage girl, let's not share these things. It really isn't that exciting. That's my opinion. Please take note, you'll never hear this again.
Lots of opinions offered from this desk this evening. I mean, it's an absolute topic, and please understand where we're coming from on this. That's it for KTN Weekend Prime tonight. My name is John Allen Namu.
And I'm Yvonne Okwara Matole. Tomorrow, it's Checkpoint. It's an interesting one you don't want to miss. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Good night.